Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. $250,000 is now on offer to anyone who can help solve the disappearance of Burnie mother Helen Munnings more than a decade ago. Detectives say they now have fresh leads in the case, including new search sites.
This was the last place Burnie mother Helen Munnings was seen on July 23, 2008. What happened next has baffled detectives for more than a decade.
Investigators have long held the view that there are people in the community who have the knowledge of Helen's disappearance and for whatever reason have been either unable to or unwilling to come forward.
On the day she vanished, Miss Munnings, who was also pregnant, told her mother she was going to a doctor's clinic. But instead, the 20-year-old met this man, Adam Taylor, the father of her child. Mr. Taylor says the two went for a drive before he dropped her off at the corner of the old pulp mill. Miss Munnings was never seen again. In 2012, a coroner found Miss Munnings likely died on or about the day of her disappearance. Police say they now have fresh leads. 4 detectives are on the investigation, and the reward has been bumped up to $250,000 to anyone who can help them make a conviction.
In the passage of time, people's circumstances change and their allegiances also may have changed. And this offer is an opportunity for a life-changing amount of money that may be the motivation for someone to come forward.
At the end of the day, the family deserve closure in this matter and they deserve to know exactly what happened to Helen.
Helen's mother Carol was too upset to speak on camera today, but told 7 Tasmania News she welcomed the reward increase and hopes it leads to justice for Helen and her unborn baby. Police refuse to give up on the case.
I describe it as a case that is eminently solvable.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A person of interest in an assault at Launceston's Cataract Gorge is no longer a suspect, according to police. A woman in her 30s was attacked while walking a track near the Duck Reach power station. Police released an image of this man but have since eliminated him as a suspect. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Tasmanian activists joined in that nationwide protest by staging their own in Hobart. Campaigners filling the foyer in Parliament Square building this morning.
Protesting in peace, a stark contrast to havoc caused on the streets of Melbourne. This group from Animal Liberation Tasmania refusing requests from police to move and sharing their message with the state's leaders.
So this is our contribution, a peaceful occupation of the ministerial office foyers in opposition to the continued exploitation of non-human animals in Australia.
Police then allowing the local activists to continue their demonstration, their campaign eventually moving to the streets to urge the public to watch a confronting Australian documentary called Dominion, released this time last year.
Tasmania features in that documentary quite significantly with battery hen farming, battery rabbit farming and multiple exposés into slaughterhouses. So we're here today to mark that anniversary as a part of an Australia-wide campaign today.
Tasmania's approach receiving support by State Labor and Greens.
Well, the Greens will always support peaceful democratic protests if they are peaceful and they are designed to get better policy for animals. Of course I support them.
Many Australians care about animal rights and want to protect animals to do the right thing, and of course we need to manage that into the future.
In a statement, the state government said it condemns the various actions taken across the nation today and is committed to ensuring Tasmanians can go to work and run their business in a safe manner, free from threats and disruption. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tasmania's latest NAPLAN results are in and show our students still remain behind mainland counterparts in a range of subjects. Writing results showing the lowest overall since the testing began in 2017. Labor maintains the system needs an overall.
We've had 10 years of NAPLAN and little improvement when it comes to student outcomes. What that suggests is that there isn't the equity in the system that is needed to be there for student excellence across the board.
The Tasmanian Association of State School Organisations says the program does not consider all education aspects and may not be a suitable diagnostic tool. Labor has pledged to ensure Tasmanian hotels receive a better deal when it comes to online booking platforms. The party promises to ban price parity clauses if successful at the election. The pitch hailed today by the Australian Hotels Association as a game changer.
Currently, there is a contractual prohibition that stops Australian hotels, that stops Tasmanian hotels from offering a cheaper rate than a platform like Booking.com or a platform like Expedia. This will change that. It will mean consumers get a better rate when they book directly with the hotel.
More than 1 million people visited Tasmania last year, and Labor believes it's vital to ensure that as much of the money that tourists spend stays in Tasmania as possible.
The two major international online booking platforms currently have a combined share market of 84%. Election signs at Kingston Beach have been defaced over the weekend and vandalised with a box cutter. Vika Bailey says several of his signs have been destroyed in what's described as a targeted and personal attack.
Vandalism of any political advertising is disappointing and an attack on democracy at the end of the day. This is a cowardly attack.
Residents of the electorate of Nelson will go to the polls on May the 4th. A Victorian children's immuniser is reiterating calls for families to understand the importance of babies and children being vaccinated. Dr. Jenny Royals is in Tasmania speaking with local health professionals to help overcome patient misunderstandings.
It can be just a simple jab, but making a decision about vaccinating a child can raise a lot of questions.
If people understand why we're recommending these, then the babies will get their immunisations on time.
Tonight, this community immunisation specialist will speak with primary healthcare workers in Triabunna as part of an event organised by the Royal Flying Doctors Service for the Right as Rain project.
Basically, prevention is better than cure, so we have a strong preventative health approach, and across Australia we prefer people not to get ill and not to use our services.
Frank conversations with parents or health professionals who deal with them said to be crucial for overcoming stigma and getting life-saving messages across.
Someone between one feed and the next as a baby can have very severe progressed meningitis. The ability to prevent these diseases is incredibly important, and I don't really want families to miss out on that opportunity.
Here in Tasmania, vaccination levels are very close to the target set nationally, but still some pockets are not up to standard.
Vaccine hesitancy is sometimes an issue, so sometimes it can be things like people don't have access to general practice or they have trouble getting there, and sometimes it's about parents having questions that they need answered about immunisation.
I really encourage people to go to their doctor or nurse and ask their questions about immunisations, and we have these discussions in a very non-judgmental way.
Public Health also reminding people to have their flu shot from mid-April. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Some of the state's rising touch football stars have had the chance to test their game tactics ahead of the state finals. Students from across the north and northwest braved cold and windy conditions to take part in the annual school series event.
42 teams and more than 400 players, a sign of the state's growing interest in the sport.
Today we have the Touch Football School Series event, so the northern event. We've had one in the south last week. The event has become so big we've had to split it up into 2 sections, which is fantastic.
I was really impressed when I saw the list come out of the games today, just to see the spread of the schools and just see the amount of involvement and how many schools, both independent schools and the public schools, are involved.
The increased numbers also seeing a rise in female participation. Star player 16-year-old Maddie Brasendale says the series is a good chance for players to sharpen their skills in the lead up to the bigger competition.
The state trial, which will be coming up this weekend, which we can go to and try out for, and if we are successful there we get to go to Queensland for the Nationals.
Players from 11 schools signed up today, also having the chance to be discovered on the spot, with scouts among those watching on.
Hopefully, I think people, if they've got a bit of talent, they'll be spotted today by some of the regulars here from the Touch Association, and they'll be able to select people from there. So, yeah, it gives them a chance to shine.
The top 4 Tasmanian teams will be invited to play at the National Schools Cup on the Sunshine Coast in September. Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmanian News.
In a case of mind over matter, the City of Launceston has hosted its 2019 Engineering Young Minds Challenge. The event pairing 27 potential engineers with those already working in the industry. The simple task to construct a tower using spaghetti pasta, marshmallows and sticky tape, hoping to prompt interest in solving a more serious problem. The students taking part today were from the F1 in Schools program.
And the votes are in for the TSL Player of the Year after round 2, with Lauderdale's Josh McGuinness judged best on ground in his side's hard-fought win over Launceston. North Launceston ruckman Alex Lee was given the 3 votes following the reigning Premier's 21-point win over Clarence, and 5 goals from Aidan Grace against North Hobart was enough to see him top the votes in the final match of the round. To the leaderboard, and Grace now sits 3 votes clear of Lee, McGuinness, Sam Siggins and Taylor Whitford. Still on TSL, and Glenorchy star Ben Camerick says the side is showing similar form to what saw them capture the 2016 flag. Meantime, the Tasmanian Devils are still on a high, having claimed their first ever win in the NAB League. The Glenorchy veteran was one of the standouts in Saturday's centennial match with North Hobart as the club rose to the occasion with a 41-point win.
To be able to experience playing in the 100th year, the first game at the club under lights against North Hobart, was something I'll never forget.
2 convincing wins from 2 matches sees the Pies looking the goods in 2019, with the addition of Aidan Grace in the forward line proving a huge advantage.
I feel very privileged to have him come down, especially because he could have went back to Clarence, and very glad he didn't. Just kick it up and he'll mark it, it seems. We're looking very dangerous down forward, and it's something we haven't had for a couple of years now.
And although it's still early days, Camerick says the club has renewed confidence following an up and down couple of seasons.
It's great, it's like a real, and especially being such a big family club as well. I just feel so comfortable coming here during the week and on game day, and I just love it. I've said to a couple of people, like, it feels like 2016 almost all over again.
It was an historic weekend for the state's best young footballers, with the Tasmanian Devils securing their first win since entering the NAB League. Jackson Callow, the best contributor on the scoreboard, with 5 majors to help the side along to a 48-point win over the Northern Territory Academy at Melbourne's Holden Centre. Meantime, Nathan Earl is recovering in hospital following a nasty crash during the Gran Premio in Jaén in Spain. The Hobart cyclist broke his femur after coming off at high speed on a downhill bend. Earl had only recently returned to racing following a training crash with a vehicle in Hobart in January. Overnight, Ariane Titmus continued her dominance in the pool, with a Tasmanian leading from the get-go and going on to claim gold in the women's 800-metre freestyle at the National Swimming Championships in Adelaide.
Good evening. Plenty of activity today ahead of a cold front. The winds picked up and the showers started to fall. Hobart and Devonport reached 18 degrees, Launceston 17, while Burnie's 19 was the top around the state, also recorded by King Island, St Helens and Friendly Beaches. Lake Margaret had 38 millimetres of rain to 9 a.m, while today most of the rain developed after the 3 p.m. readings and is building over a few areas at the moment. Flinders Island and Smithton 18 degrees, Low Head and Ooze 17, Strawn 16, Lyowini a high of 9. Patchy low-level cloud across Tasmania as that cold front approaches. Now we'll see the main part of the front just to our west, and that's due to cross this evening, pulling through a cold, unstable air mass over us. Tropical cyclone Wallace is off the Pilbara coast, with the trough extending over the east of the continent. Tomorrow the front will be off over the Tasman Sea. A high will form south of the Bight, while Wallace tracks westwards. Now winds here west to southwesterly at 20 to 30 knots, tending southwesterly at 15 to 25 knots late morning. Swells at 7 metres in western and southern waters. We do have a strong wind warning for those blustery southwesterlies for all Tasmanian coastal waters. Also a warning to sheep graziers, that's for the southeast, and a bushwalkers alert for the southwest and central plateau districts. Hobart, a shower or 2 tomorrow, 6 overnight, 14 the top, 13 for Adventure Bay, becoming windy on Bruny, 0 for Tarraleah, a showery day and 8 degrees. Launceston 16, mostly sunny, cool though, mostly sunny for Devonport and 15 degrees, 17 the top for Bridport. Burnie, a shower or 2 clearing, 15 the high, just 13 for Strawn, a shower for Marrawar as well and 14 degrees. For St Helens, a mostly sunny 17, 17 also for Whitemark, but a possible shower there early, 16 the top for Swansea. On Wednesday, fine and partly cloudy after a patchy frost. The chance of a shower over the west and far south. A light shower over the west on Thursday. Cool, partly cloudy weather elsewhere. And on Friday, fine and partly cloudy until a late shower over the west. A warm sunny day in Perth tomorrow. Cloudy in Adelaide. A cool day in Melbourne with a shower or two. A shower as well for Sydney, but 27 degrees. And the wind's picking up there. Mostly sunny in Brisbane tomorrow and 31. Plenty of cloud about at the moment, 15 in Hobart, 12 degrees in Launceston, Devonport cloudy and 14. Joe, I'm not expecting to wear the red and white much this year, but with the Sydney Swans, the St George Dragons and Liverpool all winning, I thought I'd splash the colour out tonight.
Yeah, might be your only chance, mate. See how you go. That's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you a little later with updates. Bye-bye.